We gonna snipe the plane out of the air? What's the plan for you? Unless you're just gonna be at the
he's
airport.
Gonna take care. He's gonna take care of the other people that are part of this guy's team or something.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Lessons, and we are back with another episode of Fate Zero. I believe we're on episode 19 today.
Right. Justice is found.
Yes, I believe we're still going to be in the flashback arc, or the past of our magical terrorist. Before anything else, though, first off, thank you once again to SevTQ for sponsoring this watch series. Of course, we have comments going into this. Alex V9 from the Patreon, from the episode Distant Memories. Yay, I managed to get back on Patreon, though just for this month. They put a number here. Well, I said I was going to explain the dead apostles in this episode, but I realized that would be going down an unnecessary and confusing rabbit hole. So I'll just explain it in a very simplistic way. For starters, the term vampire, outside of poetic usage, is a general term to refer to a creature that sucks or feeds on blood. Dead apostles are one of many vampiric creatures, being the most numerous. These are humans who were transformed into vampires either by magecraft, by another dead apostle, or by a true ancestor. They have the biological impulse to consume to the point of being able to cause an epidemic of more dead apostles like zombies. And just in case it raised any doubts, true ancestors are unique existences of incarnations of nature's spirits. Any way to explain them in detail would require several minutes of typing.
Wow.
2. If it's still a bit confusing to understand the idea of prototype weapons, look at it like this, Lessons. In a very simplified way, prototype weapons surpass final products because they were made during the Age of Gods, where the weapons of the heroes that were modeled on those prototypes were made in the ages... Sorry, did I misread something here? Let me try this again. I feel like I misread that because it didn't make any sense in my head. In a very simplified way, prototype weapons surpass final products because they were made during the Age of Gods, where the weapons of the heroes that were modeled on those prototypes were made in the Age of Man. Because of the differences in the eras in which the items were made, their quality and capacity also differs. Since you didn't have any questions, there's not much to say. I hope you liked the episode, and the one you're about to watch too. Have a nice day, you two. P.S. Personally, I'm one of those who would like the non-immortal stop aging of permanent health, since I'm a big procrastinator. At least that way, I have more time to enjoy more things, and when I've done everything, I can decide when to finish it.
Sounds perfect to me. I think the problem is the whole prototype aspect of it. It's like, oh, I have a concept of Excalibur, but nobody has named it. It just exists. So I guess actual Excalibur is just a copy of an idea someone else had, right? It's like, oh, at some point the gods decided that there will be Excalibur. I'm going to make a copy of Excalibur. Clearly, I'm a man. I cannot make it as good as the actual Excalibur, which was the prototype.
What was the name of the country in Greyhawk that was high-tech and it got covered in like a black ice? Blackmore?
Blackmore, yeah. It's not. Blackmore is... Okay, it's complicated because what really is supposed to be the city of the gods. And the whole thing with Blackmore and Taisa Mistara is that these gods are not really gods. They are alien humans that came from other stars and then set up a civilization, and it's a whole mess.
But anyway, Blackmore, before the ice took it, right, had high-tech shit, right? Whereas if you move past the Age of Blackmore, you go back into more of a medieval fantasy sort of thing.
Well,
so
you go
technically you have high-tech shit from the past that is more advanced than shit that exists now.
Yeah, but okay, here's the thing. We're not talking about the difference between having a gun and a sword and saying the gun is more sophisticated than a sword. Prototype weapon of a sword
Well, we could be. I mean, let's go
is sword.
let's go not Final Fantasy, let's go Fallout, right?
Mm-hmm.
After the nukes drop, we have less of an ability to create modern weapons again. So you could
Mm-hmm.
have I don't know, a Luger, right? Versus a pipe gun. It is the
Yeah,
same concept. They're both guns, but one is comes from a more refined age that just happens to be from the past. Whereas now you got a pipe gun which can fall apart anytime you pull the trigger.
true.
Same idea. That things were better
Okay.
in the age of the gods because it was the age of the gods. Now we're in the age of man,
Yeah.
and we don't have the ability to make things that gods could have made, or when the gods had the strength to make stuff. We're making our own versions of things based on that. We're making pipe guns where the gods had actual guns. You know, that sort of thing. That's the
I
example
guess
that
so.
I'm pulling with. And no one's correcting me. They said, look at it this way, lessons. So clearly that must mean I got it right.
Okay.
All right, well, that was Alex trying to give us a simple version. Now we have Fenrir756, as we all know from the Gundam Seed, from the Patreon, from the episode Distant Memories. I hope these comments are in time for the next episode, but I think I might be too late. Proven to be false. The next two paragraphs will deal specifically with how vampires work. Remember how Alex said, I don't want to get too complicated about this. The next two
You're about to
paragraphs,
get complicated.
yeah, will specifically deal with how vampires work in the Type Moon universe, and we'll also go into the background and history of how they came into being, and none of this spoils anything in any future Fate anime series you may watch. The first thing to understand is that in this universe, planets and other celestial bodies essentially have souls, and that in the final stage of a celestial body's life cycle, they can manifest in a physical form known either as an ultimate one or a type. I guess that comes along with Type Moon then, huh? The moon has something to do with it? Anyway, Earth is currently incapable of creating its own type, but does have its soul/collective will known as Gaia. And over 4,000 years ago, Gaia made a call out to other celestial bodies seeking aid in creating beings that could serve to protect Gaia and nature from human corruption. The entity which responded to this call was the ultimate one of the moon, also known as Type Moon. Oh, I guess I got ahead of myself there. Type Moon was allowed to live on Earth in exchange for Gaia, using his existence as the basis for creating a type of nature spirit known as true ancestors. And these were the first vampires. True ancestors do not need to suck blood to survive, but because they were created from the Type Moon, as a base, they inherited the same vampiric impulses it possessed. This vampiric impulse eventually led to some true ancestors trying to pervert themselves from succumbing to their vampiric impulses and becoming a threat to both humans and the planet by making a bargain with some humans where they would lose their free will and be used as emergency meals to alleviate the true ancestors' bloodlust in exchange for being granted powers and longevity similar to what the true ancestors possessed. Leading to the creation of the first Dead Apostles. Dead Apostles possessed a flawed form of immortality compared to the true ancestors, as they must suck the blood of others to survive because they weren't naturally born vampires, and their bodies are constantly burning energy to maintain their existence and fuel their powers. So they take what they need to repair their bodies from human blood. Dead apostles are typically created when either a true ancestor or dead apostle sucks their blood, but it is possible to become one through magecraft.
That's what happened to the girl, that she used magecraft and became an apostle.
Oh no, technically his father used magecraft to create a potion that she drank. Although, as was indicated by the story, she stole it and drank it on her own, so technically not his fault.
Although
Anyway,
he meant to do it anyway. He was experimenting on these people. He was the one who was preying on them. So,
well,
yeah.
he may have intended to do it, but he didn't. I don't think you're guilty for a thing you intended to do but didn't do.
Well, you intend that these are negligence and putting a situation where it could happen. It's like, oh, I intended to blow up this building, but didn't. But I left the dynamite, just allowing someone else to do it. I was at least extremely negligent on me.
Sure, but you're not responsible for other people's actions. I think if I
But I'm
like
responsible for my actions.
if I intend to kill my neighbor, right, and I go get a gun, but I leave the gun at my house one day while I'm going out shopping, and somebody else grabs that gun and kills my neighbor, just because I meant to kill the neighbor and was prepared to kill my neighbor, doesn't actually make me guilty of their death because somebody else did it.
No, but you are responsible for the proper care of the weapon, and it was stolen. So,
Sure, but
therefore,
that's
you
a
are
far
responsible.
lesser crime than what you may have
True.
intended to do. Again, there's different levels of negligence, right?
And
If
also,
you're in charge of somebody and
the
they die
way,
due to your negligence, that's completely different from you being responsible for an object that is then used to kill somebody.
depending on the nature of the object, in this case,
And
this is
the
less of.
difference is if you're responsible for a child and the child dies due to your negligence, that's different than being responsible for like a butcher knife and the butcher knife gets used to murder somebody because you didn't take proper care of where it was. That is two
And
different
also, I think she was
levels of
pretty young.
negligence.
I think she wasn't an adult, was she? She could drive, but
My example about a child does not have anything to do with the fact that this was a little girl, not a little girl. This, yeah, she could drive. It has nothing to do with that. I'm not cross comparing things here. He's also not responsible for her because he's not her parent.
he is his teacher, though.
She literally had to break into a place to get the thing.
Yeah.
I just have less compassion for your folly when your folly is your fault. Or maybe compassion's not the right word there. I don't know. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Again, the element that you went out of your way to damn yourself, essentially. He may have been planning to do it, but you beat him to the punch, essentially.
Anyway,
Yeah, that was only paragraph 1.
yes.
There are 9 ranks of dead apostles that a person can potentially become. Rank 1, corpse/zombie, is a being that has had its blood sucked and is essentially an automaton that is controlled by its sire. These die once the sire dies. I believe these are what all the villagers who were bitten turned into after they died. Rank 2 is a ghoul. A ghoul is a corpse that is capable of mimicking the form it had in life, and its sire's magical energy keeps it from decaying and is able to be programmed by the sire, and also dies when the sire dies or cuts off its magical energy. Only 1 in 100 people have the aptitude, immunity, to resist the blood of a vampire to reach this rank. Rank 3, undead, are the first rank that are actually considered vampires and are living corpses that don't retain their full mental faculties but can simulate a human lifestyle on its own and cannot survive if their sire dies. These serve as commanders of the lower ranked dead. Rank 4, Nightkin, are undead who are fledgling vampires while maintaining their original personality and are the highest rank a human can become if their blood is consumed by a rank 6 dead apostle and can survive if their sire dies. It is possible for vampires from this rank and above to eventually reach higher ranks given time. Only 1 in 1,000 is capable of reaching this rank if their blood is consumed. Rank 5, Nightmare, are undead whose vampiric curse allows them to manifest special powers either derived from their sire or from one's own self, and is considered a fully fledged vampire. Rank 6, Dead Apostle Inferior, is a completely self-sufficient vampire who can create children through blood-sucking incursions, i.e. ranks 4 through 6, and are essentially the first level of upper-tier Dead Apostles. Only 1 in 10,000 people has the ability to reach this rank. Rank 7, Dead Apostle Superior, are Dead Apostles who were rank 6, were acknowledged by an ancestor, not a true ancestor, and bestowed with additional abilities, and their very existence is a poison that taints the land by its very presence and are capable of potentially defeating their parent ancestor and inheriting their curse/power. But this can place a significant strain on their body if their physical form is not sufficient to wield that power. Rank 8. Successor is a talented vampire chosen by an ancestor as its successor to inherit the idea blood, aka a unique power or ability developed by the ancestor over its existence. In the event of the ancestor's destruction, these dead apostles are extremely powerful vampires, and there are estimated to be slightly more than 50 total in existence. And rank 9. Ancestors are the original dead apostles who eventually broke free from their servitude to the true ancestors and achieved independence, and each possess an idea blood, which is a unique power/ability that has been developed over a significant period of time.
Interesting. Also very complicated. It feels needlessly complicated. But I guess it's based on a video game, so yeah.
I mean, it feels like a World of Darkness page heading, you know?
Yeah.
Dead apostles of rank 6 and higher use the lower ranks to obtain the blood necessary for them to survive and generally conceal themselves after creating enough servants of lower ranks to operate without the dead apostles' direct supervision, and the lower ranks keep some of the blood for their own sustenance. A final note about vampires is that it is not just a physical transformation, but also it transforms one's soul in the Type Moon universe. So if someone who became a vampire tried transferring their soul to a physically human body, that would undergo vampirification. Again, the Mataos are not vampires/dead apostles, but to explain what's going on with Zokin would constitute major spoilers.
So scratch all that information because we don't need it for this.
Well, no, remember last episode dealt with dead apostles and whatnot, so it's still valuable for us. Sorry, I've always said that I have the notepad. Like, if your box is right here, my notepad's right here, so it's corner of my eye. When you're moving around, I see you doing stuff. So I don't have a real visual of what's going on, but I just keep your hand goes to your face, and then you're looking at your fingers. But you're like around your nose region. It's like, is he picking his nose and looking at it? Is he like fucking me up while I'm reading? What's going on up there?
No. Jesus Christ.
I can't, like I said, I can't like help you visualize how I'm seeing out of the corner of my eye stuff. It's just, this is happening. out of the corner of my eye as I'm reading sentences. I believe what happened with Shirley is that she became one of the lower ranked, possibly a 4. That's right. Fenrir says Shirley is a 4. That apostle and couldn't control her vampiric instincts and began mindlessly turning the village into zombies. Also, Kiritsugu's father appears to be trying to create a dead apostle between rank 4 and 6 with control of its vampiric impulses. But this would not eliminate the need for the dead apostles to have a regular stream of human blood to consume to survive. And if he succeeded in being able to create such a dead apostle, countless other humans would still have to die to maintain his immortality.
Good.
That depends.
He's an asshole.
It depends.
I mean, it depends.
It depends on like what does he plan to do with it. I think that's a conversation we had during the episode. What do you plan to do with your immortality? Because, well, I don't know. It's probably given what you've said about. I don't think you
deserve immortality if your immortality is based on murdering other people.
It doesn't have to be. I mean, obviously, it would have to start that way, but you never know. You could form a cult around you, people willing to give you their blood.
Cults are not enough people. People are being coerced into being cults. They're brainwashed. So,
well, I mean, that's just a colloquial term I'm using for it. I'm not, people could be willing to give you their blood. Obviously, the way that the ranks were structured, there were certain people who were willingly given the choice, as per this comment that we're still in the middle of. But yeah. Also, again, we don't know what the plan to use the immortality is for. But I think that falls back into our Gundam Seed discussions about what you're willing to sacrifice in order to create a better world, or who you're willing to sacrifice. Like, you don't like Doctor Doom. Yeah, that's the whole synopsis of Doctor Doom, is that actually the gods of the Marvel universe have seen the future where Doctor Doom takes over, and that is the best utopia possible. So as it turns out, Doctor Doom doing a bunch of evil shit leads to the utopia future, the Garden of Eden.
Yeah,
But
I don't.
you have to be down for going with that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that you're literally not willing, you don't buy. Oh, unfortunately, it's one of the good gods that says that the one reading that future. So it's not like that one's lying for no good reason. But the point
I'm not
being,
buying the whole, because somebody had to write that. It's like, yeah, this was make perfect sense, and I'm like, I'm not buying. You might put that to page. You might say it's canon.
well, unfortunately, you cannot argue with that point because that is in universe. If you believe anything that goes on in that universe, you have to believe everything that goes on in that universe.
Not really.
Yeah,
fiction.
Yeah, no, but it is fiction, but it's fiction, right? If you start breaking down the meta of, well, writers wrote this, and it's like, yeah, well, writers wrote all of fiction. So if you're not going to believe the universe that you're trying to enjoy because you don't like one writer out of 100 writers, then I don't know, man. It's not going to be worthwhile to have watched the show with you. I mean, if we were watching Marvel together, for example.
I mean, if it's well written, I'll watch it. But if it's not, it's not. I mean, I can still call it out as being stupid. You know?
Yeah, I mean, you got to go to the highs and lows. But I mean, you don't say I don't like this in-universe thing because of an out-of-universe thing. You've got to explain in-universe stupidness with other in-universe stupidness because it's all of its own universe.
Okay. Sure.
But because if you start breaking the fourth wall on what's happening inside of a narrative, then you're not focusing on the narrative anymore. You're breaking the fourth wall, and that takes you out of the whatever enjoyment you might have of thing. When we talk about Kira being a stupid character for his choices, we don't talk about how dumb the writing is, because we're not mocking the writer. We're mocking Kira as a character. You take a step back and start saying, well, actually, as it turns out, the writer was going through a bad heartbreak during the time, and he was done writing this kind of shit. It's like, no, we analyze what the character is doing. I don't take a step back and try and figure out what Tamino was dealing with in his life during the time when he was writing this shit. That is a level of analysis, because that's not what I'm doing. I would have to start,
not what you're doing.
Yeah, I would have to start remembering, like, the directors of shows, things like that. I'm not here for the real people who make shit. I'm here for the enjoyment of a media.
But you can enjoy media. I mean, the thing is, okay, no. Here's what you have done. And it's not invalid, but I'm going to describe it. You have chosen what's called
it's treason, then.
No. Dead author theory, right? That the only thing that is valid is between the covers of the pages, right? The work itself. That is a valid form of criticism and engagement.
We've debated this before when we talk about Ender's Game.
Yeah, but it's not the only one.
No, I'm not talking. Well, no, I'm still. Hold on. I know what you're saying. No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying that what you're talking about is more of an in-depth reflection on a media as a whole. But what I'm talking about is somebody who I like Captain America because he throws shields. That's what I'm talking about. If I just want to enjoy a thing for the internal lore, for the character development, right? I'm not going to take a step back and try to analyze the life of a writer. Like, do you ever watch Brows Held High? I can't remember his name. He used to be back on the channel Awesome Stuff. He does the breakdown of what's the name? I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore. He does that. He does the breakdown of Starship Troopers over 3-hour-long videos where he goes into Heinemann's work as an author. He goes into, I can't remember the name of the guy who directed RoboCop and Starship Troopers and everything. He goes into his past work and how it influenced everything that he made after that. He goes into what it means to live in I can't remember the name of the country. Anyway, he gives a whole breakdown about everything outside of Starship Troopers before he ever even touches reviewing the movie Starship Troopers. And that's that's what you're talking about. An entirely outside point of view of here's everything that could have possibly ever influenced Starship Troopers as a movie. And then we're going to talk about Starship Troopers and the breakdown of the characters and blah, 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 blah. And I'm saying, yeah, but I just like Johnny Rico as a football player who then becomes a soldier. Like, you go so far outside of everything that if you're looking at it at a surface level is all I care about.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, again, how long do you want to talk about a thing, right?
I mean, you can certainly say, okay, this is more valid to any one particular discussion, but at the same time, we shouldn't just say these factors are not important, because here's the thing about art: art exists in reality.
Well, art also exists in the eye of the beholder, though. I mean, if I think my main point, we've gotten so far off topic here. I think my main point is that we should enjoy it from the same perspective to then have a conversation about it. If you're going to do a 5-hour breakdown about the influences of the artist before you even touch the art that they've made, and I'm here just to look at the art, then we're not, well, I can't say we're not, there's no definitives anywhere. We're probably not going to enjoy it in the same way or have the same enjoyment of each other's enjoyment, right? I watch the Browse Hell High stuff because I do enjoy those external breakdowns of everything like that, but I myself am not going to engage in them in my own time. I'm not going to do all the research or have a wide discussion about how the director's the last 20 works have influenced the art that they made when they crossed the ocean to come over to direct in America, and their American works versus their native works. It's outside of the purview of, say, when I jump into a Marvel movie. I don't care as much because they're dumber works. I only need how much did they change from their original comic book sources or that sort of stuff, because that's still in universe lore. As I said, surface level. It's not that I can't appreciate an in-depth analysis of every little aspect that made the thing what it is. But when I want to talk about how powerful are Tony Stark's beam lasers versus the magic guy who can change reality, that has nothing to do with that anymore.
I mean, yeah, narrow focus is fine, but I think shouldn't be dismissed out of hand.
I think, again, that falls back to what level of analysis can we enjoy while still enjoying each other's analysis.
I don't think one stops the other unless...
It does, because literally it's I don't want to say it's an investment tier. It's if you're going way up here with your analysis and everything, and my enjoyment stops here, then you're going to be at some point the lecturer that is not reaching the audience anymore. We need to have nearest the same amount of investment to discussion level to be able to really enjoy each other's breakdown of things. You're going to be having a lot more fun talking to other intellectuals who have stuff to share, whereas you're going to be talking down to me, who has no investment, can't even remember these people's names or where they come from, versus I'm going to be talking about shit that is going to be boring to you, because who the fuck cares what Tony Stark did on Friday night when he was drinking? Or, in fact, you already know, because you're up here. I'm going to be telling you stuff you already know. I'm not going to be sharing new facts with you, and you're just going to be talking down to me, who knows so much less. As I said,
well, it depends on how much I actually know about Tony Stark. If I know nothing about Tony Stark, and you're the one introducing the subject, you say, hey, by the way, it's important that you know what happened on Friday night, because on Sunday he got in a fight with so-and-so, and that's what happened.
Well, that would just be the reverse. Okay, I would be up here and you'd be down here. That's what I'm saying. It would be, even then, though, the idea being that you would start talking about the director who made the movie, or the writer, what he was going through in the years preceding the movie that affected how he rewrote the script that X writer had previous things that would be inconsequential to my discussion because I would be discussing how Tony Stark felt during the time or what Tony Stark was drinking at the moment because that's reflective of his previous drinking problems or whatever like that. Because you would be coming from an outside perspective and I'd be coming from an only in-universe perspective, and they don't have a lot of interesting crossovers discussion-wise, I feel like you've both got to be on the same level.
I see it as a continuum, but sure.
It's not a continuum to the people having the discussion. Because I feel like if you've ever been in a conversation where you've known nothing, being consistently talked down to by somebody who thinks they're trying to help you out, but it comes across as snobbish. You remember that conversation we had before about And I basically essentially said, it always sounds like you're trying to just get past the conversation. And you're like, no, this is being polite in this other cultures. It's like, it's not how it comes across. It's real easy to come across as a snob who knows everything when you know everything in a conversation with somebody who doesn't know anything.
Yeah, I never considered myself to know much of anything, so I'm good.
It's like going to the art gallery and having the uptight person who knows everything about all the art exhibits. And you're like, I really like that piece, and that's all you had. All you had was, I like how that looks. That looks interesting. Well, that was written in 1945, and that's when he cut his ear off.
Really? I would go like, oh, really? I mean, that kind of stuff would grab me, but I guess...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a difference of interest levels as well. Like, you might only be interested in the art piece that you're looking at, because visually it's striking to you. You might not even care about the artist. So hearing all this extra stuff is just going to bore you, and you want to move on to the next thing. Paragraph 6. Mages marked for sealing are those mages with either unique magical potential / abilities or have developed their magic to such heights that the association fears it cannot be replicated, and so the association delegates them for sealing, where they will essentially be incarcerated in such a way that their abilities / magecraft will be preserved, and abilities for study, such as removing the mage's brain, eyes, nerves, and magical circuits, and preserving them in jars that can be used to function as a replacement body / exoskeleton. This was the fate of Tokiyami. Sorry, this is the fate that Tokiyami feared Sakura could face if she didn't have the protection an heir to a magecraft family possessed.
So
it justifies the thing that you had a problem with. That if he didn't send his other daughter, to a different family, that she would have had her brain, eyes, nerves, and magic circuits removed and put in jars.
Yeah, that's horrible.
So considering better to have bugs infest your body or to have your eyes, brain, thing ripped out of your body. And I guess he chose alive but tortured rather than alive and Bomorian monk. If you're familiar with Star Wars.
No, not that part of Star Wars anyway.
Tatooine, underneath the Hutt Palace, the Bomorian monks live, and they're basically brains in jars, but they're also on like robot spider bodies. The Bomorian monks. Well, this very specifically says it works as a replacement body / exoskeleton. So that's the first thing that came to my head. That they're so... imagine seeking nirvana to such an extent that you remove your body. You're just a brain in a jar. That's Bomorian monks. While Kiritsugu's father did not make Shirley consume the potion / magecraft that turned her into a dead apostle, at some point he was planning to test it on humans, knowing this was a possible or even probable outcome, and as a mage he likely was fully willing to sacrifice the entire village if it would lead to him furthering his magic research. His father was almost certainly never going to do this to Kiritsugu, as it would be his responsibility as the heir to continue his father's research if it was incomplete, and Kiritsugu killed him because although he himself wasn't at risk, he knew there was a strong likelihood of this event repeating in the future.
Oh, he did it to save other people. Good for him.
Right. Versus our argument where I was saying it was never going to happen to him. Well, I mean, I think you had the argument that it could, and I was like, no, he was never going to because he has a history of not doing it. But the argument here is that he, as you say, protected other people. But then again, I still don't think that's a good defense for killing your father.
I think that would be the perfect defense for killing anyone, including your father.
I mean, it's not your responsibility to kill your father. I think if you know that there's authority out there, you let the authority handle it. Your responsibility, your father, should be loyalty. It's family. He's taking care of you. You take care of him. There's a conversation that I once had with my mother, which is if I killed somebody, would you protect me? And she said no. She's on your side on this one. Whereas I think if I had a daughter and my daughter killed somebody, fuck it, let's move to Cuba. No, do something because you're my daughter. I'm going to protect you no matter what.
Yeah, no, there's right and wrong, and you cannot overcome that with blind loyalty.
You can, in fact, because blood is thicker than water. Blood is thicker than the ink you wrote your laws on.
Yeah,
I don't care. Family comes first.
Yeah, that's a lot of things are done wrong because of that, and people do abuse that.
Again, not arguing, not arguing with here. I'm just saying that I do not see him killing his father as the right move. Even his father was taken aback by it.
I'm sure he didn't expect his son to do it. It doesn't mean that it shouldn't have been done.
I think it shouldn't have been done. I mean, I'm not saying that his father didn't deserve to die. I'm just saying that Kiritsugu shouldn't have been the one to do it. Arguably, if he had just waited like 10 minutes, the church and the mages would have come along and killed him. I don't think it's your responsibility. Like the least you could have done for your father, given that he has raised you, kept you safe this entire time, and I mean, not for nothing, never intended to experiment on you, would be not to be the one that kills him.
I would have taken the responsibility and killed him.
Yeah, well, you're a bad son.
Not really. Yeah. Because if my father taught me right from wrong, he taught me to do the right thing. The right thing is to take care of the.
Well, then obviously you're wrong then, because your father maybe didn't teach you that. I mean, we don't know what he taught him.
If I could kill someone else for doing it, I would kill him too.
He wasn't killing other people for doing it, though.
He would have, and he surely was planning to.
I'm sorry, I think we've lost track because I don't know what you're talking about. I'm saying Kiritsugu or his father wasn't planning on killing somebody for what Kiritsugu's father was doing. So obviously he didn't teach his son to kill people for doing that. So you're saying I've grown up with these morals, and I'm saying you haven't grown up with these morals because Kiritsugu's father maybe didn't instill them into his son.
But now, and also the fact that having witnessed the horrors unleashed by this, I don't think that would allow those horrors to continue.
The horrors of not having a strong enough lock on a door.
No, the village and the people that were completely destroyed.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, who's responsible for that but the Loctite company, who apparently did not make a strong enough lock on a door?
Yeah, they shouldn't. Again, it's like if I leave a dynamite in a place and I don't properly secure it, something happens to it, I'm still responsible for that.
Well, again, we don't know that it was. We don't know that it was.
Continue to make dynamite in order for eventually blow up people, and I have a chance to stop you. I'm going to just stop you.
We don't know that it was improperly secured. We know that she broke in. For all we know, she broke a wall down. Like, we don't know what she did. She had all the time in the world to break into a place. And that place, you're blaming the gun factory for someone with all the time in the world to break in and steal guns.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with him. He should have done it, and he did.
Again,
good for him.
Loyalty should be to your father. Even if you don't believe in it, you can turn a blind eye when the authorities do show up. Again, 10 minutes. You could have just waited 10 minutes and probably would have been dead.
I don't know that.
I mean, I think we do because we know what happens immediately after he kills his dad.
Yeah, but he didn't know that she was waiting outside, or did he know? If he knew, he could have said, "Okay, I'm going to hold you here until they come for you." Okay, fine.
No,
You don't get to
don't
move.
hold him there. Again, it's the difference between doing the thing and allowing the thing to happen. You don't. This is the Batman argument. I feel like I don't have to kill you, but I don't have to save you. Or I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you. Right? You don't have to kill your dad for what he's doing. But when the church and the mages show up, you don't have to save him either.
I'm not killing him. I'm holding him there when they.
You don't hold him again. You've got
no
loyalty to your family, which is a weird thing to say, knowing what's actually going on in your real life. This is a weird argument for me to be throwing out there. But my point.
Yeah, but my parents were not bastards. My parents are being bastards. I'm like, sorry, whatever loyalty you had, you burned.
Remember that conversation I said when I said Cheryl's my mother's name, and we're talking about Cheryl Name, and I can only imagine the next room over. My parents are bastards. Damn right. What's going on over here? I don't think it matters. I mean, unless you're like talking about my mother was the mother from Child Called It or something, like where it's indefensible. But this is like literally he did nothing to his son.
Yeah, he was experimenting in such a way that he intended to harm people, and the proof was there.
But not his son. Like literally, there wasn't like no fucking conversation either. He's like, "Okay, we've got to get you somewhere safe. We have to get out of here." He's like, "Dad, what have you been doing?" No, it wasn't that. Just immediately stab him in the gut. Like, there's no conversation. Like, what if he'd been lied to? What if his dad wasn't responsible for this after all? He just got tricked by someone else on the outside. He immediately jumped to, I gotta stab my dad.
That's a possibility, but knowing what he did.
Again, we only know from after the fact. The same thing that you said that he didn't know who was waiting outside for him to, like, try and hold his dad off. Same thing. You don't know he's being tricked or not. You think maybe the guy who's been raising you your whole life, maybe you give a little bit of benefit of the doubt to say, have a conversation before you immediately commit to murder. Patricide, in fact. I don't know. I just see it as more of a wrong than the wrong his dad was committing.
I don't.
I know. Because you're never going to achieve utopia. Dr. Doom has no place for you.
I just don't believe in utopia and it justifies the means.
Of course, the ends justify the means.
No, they don't.
They do until, a certain point. Obviously, we've already had this discussion, Gundam Seed, where it's like 1% is fine, 90% is too far. I think maybe you get a kick out of those, the aliens show up and they say they want 50% of the population and we won't kill you.
Yeah, I would fight the aliens.
Yeah, I think, God, I can't remember which stories those come from. The premise is always there's no fighting the aliens. It's either 50% or you all die, and it becomes just another trolley problem. Do you sacrifice half and try to live with it, or just die? Just die on principle.
And I said before, I don't know if I said it here, but the problem with the trolley problem is the trolley problem, which is a whole thing that has to be unpacked.
Okay, on one track, you have a trolley that's going to careen into one people or two people, but on the other track, you have another trolley that's going to careen into one people or two people. Which trolley problem do you want to careen into? A trolley problem of trolley problems.
The problem with trolley problem is a trolley problem because in order for the trolley problem to even exist in the first place, so many things have to go wrong that it's not impossible for the trolley problem to be it. You have to force yourself into that situation.
No, not at all. This shit can happen happenstance. No, shit can happen happenstance all the time. Shit doesn't have to go intentionally wrong for a trolley problem, unless you're saying that people being tied or hanging around trolleys is the problem. No, I'm talking about the trolley problem as a broad spectrum thing, making a choice between two different things. It's just a perspective issue about choices that you make. I'm not saying, like, Snidely Whiplash existing as a real person is obviously not a thing that we're really talking about when we discuss trolley problems. It's the bias inherent in you as a choice maker is the trolley problem.
But the way it's usually used is to justify situations that were
do I want to pay
Clearly
my
avoidable.
bills this month, or do I want to feed my heroin addiction? That's a trolley problem. It's not something that's obviously put out there or it's been building up for some time. It's the bias inherent in your choice making is what a trolley problem is all about. Do you pick
But I
this or do
would
you pick
say,
this? Well, what if these are your friends? Okay, do I spend time with my drug dealer in hopes he's going to give me free drugs, or do I spend time with my friends who are actually actively trying to help me with my addiction? Obviously, there's a bias inherent in the system that I'm going to pick one or the other. That's what a trolley problem is about.
except that you could say, but why is this person? The reason why you might be in addiction is because didn't have the support systems to help you with that addiction in the first place, either personal, familial, or
No, that's why
culturally.
there's
And
interventions are a real thing. You can have all the help you need and still get to this point. The trolley problem just addresses the point at which you got there as a thought device, not as a introspection on the travel so far. What was his name? Who married the woman who played Psylocke in the X-Men movies? He's a famous comedian. He cheated on his wife. Then he
yeah,
came out. He had a whole drug problem and thing. Because he has a
yeah,
whole long talk about how he got there and all the events that played out, and how he actually did have a whole support network that he ignored until eventually he actually goes into drug rehab and everything. You can investigate how you get here, but at the end of the day, the trolley problem is just again exposing a bias in thinking. It's not really about an expose about all of your bad decision making leading up to a point.
Look, okay. What I'm saying is that a lot of people use the trolley problem to justify not doing something about the conditions that would lead to the trolley problem.
I don't
Especially at
know
a social
anybody that uses
institution.
it as justification.
Oh yeah, a lot of people, especially in the right wing media, but that's something we don't want to get
When I
into.
think about justification, I always think about you read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, right? You
Yeah.
know the program that the main character, well, one of the main characters makes, which will
hmm
I want this to happen. Tell me how I can make this happen with these resources. And it's like it's a computer program that justifies your decision for you, so that you can tell
hmm
other people why you did this instead of X.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that with justifications. Like, yeah, you can think of any justification you want. You don't need a computer program to tell you why this is better than this. You'll make up that reason on your own. Again, vis-a-vis my drug dealer might give me free drugs if I hang out with him, versus my friends will only be friendship. And they've been my friends throughout this addiction anyway. I could probably burn that bridge a couple more times. The free drug thing is only limited. You justify whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we're ready for the episode.
Actually, we have one more paragraph.
Mm.
With respect to Saber not technically being dead, while I believe this was briefly discussed earlier in the show, part of the issue might be that Fate Zero was originally intended to be viewed after playing through all 3 routes of Fate Stay Night. Fate Zero has already spoiled several plot points that were significant reveals in Fate Stay Night, such as Sakura being Rin's sister, and the show assumes some familiarity with the original game. Saber is not a heroic spirit like the other 6 servants in the Holy Grail War, as she has not been summoned from the Throne of Heroes, but has been summoned just before her death at the Battle of Camlin,
Come on. Yeah.
as a result of having made a pact with the Counter Force Alea, a defense mechanism born from the collective unconsciousness of mankind, driven by the desire to survive, which acts to ensure humanity's survival, where she would become a guardian in exchange for obtaining the Holy Grail. It is for this reason that Saber cannot turn into spirit form like other servants, as she has not been summoned as a true heroic spirit.
He breaks all the rules then, or at least a lot of them.
I mean, I guess, in fact, she's not dead, which is, I guess, the beginning point of this thing, but she's not done the thing that she's famous for doing, which I guess the problem is that you didn't see the one episode where we had Gilgamesh, Alexander, and
Saber.
Arturia all talk
Very
together
good.
about what it means to be king and like sacrifice and everything like this, where the indication is that they talk about her sacrifice and how that's not what a king should be. Well, Alexander does in that respect because that's his point of view,
Mm,
and that she has this like look on her face, I guess implying that she didn't do it. The thing that she's known for, the source of her inspiration for how to lead, she's not done it. If she got summoned from there before she died, then her
yeah.
sacrifice is in fact meaningless because it never happened. I mean, if you're well known for laying down your life on the battlefield for
Mhm.
your people, and your people are inspired by it for generations, and it turns out, in fact, I got summoned from there before that actually happened. So, in fact, I'm the living person who never actually
Mhm.
died. Everybody else sacrificed themselves, not me.
That's interesting. Well, anything else?
So I was hoping you were going to say, well, I guess we got a show to get into one more time, because in fact, we also have a board. I only literally just remembered as I looked over at my board screen, but also the fact I linked you to a board an hour ago.
Yes. I mean, suppose where did you put her? Where did you add her to this board?
I don't know who you're talking about.
The people that died in the episode.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Hmm.
I did not forget. I forgot to mark them as dead, is what I forgot to do.
Father Simon is
Well, I marked the
Movie
dad as
Shirley.
dead. I just forgot to mark everybody else as dead.
Yeah. Itaka Shirley, and Father Simon. Interesting that he kept the name though. And now
Kept,
he's become a ruthless bastard in his own right.
well, I mean, it is his name. I think it's
Yeah.
interesting that you keep your name when it's your name.
I mean, if he was adopted by somebody else, he could have changed his name.
Well, I mean, we don't know. It seems very much like this episode is going to be a continuation on what happened last episode.
Mm-hmm. Is he seeking the same thing as his father, immortality by other means?
I mean, that would
By
be
the
a
means,
very stupid thing to go with. Why would you kill your dad and then pursue the same thing?
immortality, not
Yeah,
the
his dad
method of
was.
immortality.
Why would
You
you?
might disagree with
The
him.
implication you're presenting is that his father was seeking the method for immortality, but not immortality, and now his
No,
son
no, no,
is
no, no, no.
seeking immortality.
By a different method. He didn't approve of how his father was doing it, but perhaps over time he agreed that what his father was doing was ultimately
I
the right way,
believe
but
that
not.
you may have said something like this before, and I'm going to reiterate for you now that there's no such thing as a good immortal. The same way that there's no such thing as a good rich person. The things you required to get you there cannot make you a good person.
Just like you can build utopia by killing 1% of humanity.
I'm
I
not
think that
saying
you have
that
to
you
do
can.
it.
I'm not saying that you can't have a utopia with a bad person at the top, or
That would
not. Maybe
know.
not an actively bad person. I'm saying that you can have a utopia with somebody who's done bad things at the top, because you can do bad things for a good reason. I'm saying that still to your implication though, you can't get there and be good.
That the only way to do it is the wrong way.
It's an inherent cost in the system. Like, to be rich, you have to have exploited somebody somewhere along the way. There's no to be a billionaire. It's impossible. I
Well,
cannot foresee any way to become a billionaire and be. Well, I'm saying that being a billionaire and being immortal. I don't know how that's not two sides of the same coin in any world where immortality is possible. Hell, in a world where being a billionaire is possible, probably immortality is also possible. When money is no object, a lot of things are no longer objects, including people.
yeah, but knowledge based, that's a problem. You can have all the money in the world if you don't have a way to
For
do it.
like
Then
20 years now, for like 26 years now, I have been hearing we're on the cusp of being able to live forever. So I have to think that,
conceptually.
well, not even conceptually, I have to believe that the medical technology is out there that they think that maybe suspended animation is going to be possible. The idea is that you could live long enough to be able to be brought back at a time where these problems are going to be a thing. But I mean, obviously there's problems with suspended animation and all that shit now too, but I mean, not even now too. It's always been a problem. You can't freeze people. That's just fucking impossible.
Yeah.
Your cells break down when you get too cold. But the idea, again, like, I don't know if you remember what old Discovery Channel was like before they became a show about how to rebuild your house and whatnot. There was a show back then called Beyond 2000. I think it was like 1995. And that was stuff they used to talk about, like
It was two shows. It was Australian shows. It was to the year 2000, and then became Beyond 2000.
Well, I remember Beyond 2000 because I remember seeing the car that was powered by water, hydrogen cell cars, and living forever and all that other shit that I always remember to today. And it's like, well, turns out the older I got, the more worse I realized the world actually was. But yeah,
that reminds me of. Do you ever watch or read the manga Spriggan?
I know the name. I don't think I've seen anything about it.
I saw the OVA and I read the manga. I didn't think I've read the whole manga though to the finish. But basically, it's about a race of humans that become immortal, and in the process, they F themselves. And then we're in a sort of end of Cold War thing, and people are finding their artifacts and fighting all over the world for it. So, been thinking about that a while. I was like, yeah, what was that anime? And then I saw Spriggan. It's like, yeah, I watched that. That was actually pretty cool.
I think it kind of reminds me how I usually describe Ben Bova's Orion series. That the gods are actually at the end of time, and they're fighting basically a temporal Cold War to keep humanity at the top of everything. But they're essentially just like old Greek gods. So, they're not... They prey on weakness and whatnot. They're not good. Humanity, what it becomes, is not good.
I guess Netflix did a series as well. I didn't see that one.
Like I said, I've seen the name before, but I never looked anything up. I think it probably didn't hit me description-wise, because I know there was like a whole series of shows that all sound like Berserk when you read the descriptions, but they're nothing like Berserk.
Yeah, no, this is modern, well, late 1980s style situation going on, but it's pretty cool.
Well, I mean, like, you hear Berserk, you see Berserk, right? And then you hear about a show called Claymore, and it's like, that sounds a lot like Berserk, and it's nothing like Berserk. And then Gunslinger Girl kind of has the same description as Claymore, and it's like, that's nothing like those shows either. It's just the ability of a show in description to sound a lot like another show. I think Spriggan fell into that category for me. It's like, I'm not watching these other shows. Why would I watch this one? But, I'm beyond that now. I'm watching shows from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s.
Yeah, you're beyond 2000 already.
Oh no, that's what I describe when I'm doing the solo stuff. It's like I want to try to keep a balance between newer shows, like stuff after 2000, and a balance of shows from before 2000. So I told you, I plan to watch Yamato. I never watched that, and I hear such good things about it all the time. All right, well, I guess that is everything leading up to the actual episode. So I guess let's go ahead and hop on into it.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this,
unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, he's older. I was going to say, I don't remember getting shot or anything, but he definitely looks older than he did back at the island.
Oh, he has his crest removed?
No. This is before he ever got a crest. This has to be like 10 years after, right? Reminds me of a motto I used to have one of my Ironclad characters. The scars become its own armor.
そんな坊やにぴったりの霊装だ。君の肋骨を粉状にすりつぶして。
Which subtitles are you using?
これで撃たれた対象には
Using
坊やの起源が具現化する。
English subtitles UTW.
I'll give that a try. I think the retail subtitles are out of sync.
まともな魔術師なら一撃だ。全部で66発。
Okay, so this is back when she did the whole bone thing, using her own bones as anti-magic bullets. We've seen a flashback of that back when he originally brought it up, because that other guy who recently died, that's when he originally lost his ability to use magic, because he got shot him literally with one of those bullets.
了解。
ナタリア、今だ。
Let me show you the last thing my dad saw. So with a knife.
Oh, so move forward and back again.
あの島を出て数年の歳月を僕は、あの島から僕を連れ出したナタリア・カミンスキーの下で過ごした。それは、つまりナタリアと同じ道、すなわち、狩人として。
Despite all the time we're spending with this guy, I want to remind people that I'm on the side of Waver and Alexander.
Yeah.
ナタリアは組織には属さず、報奨金のみを目当てにした完全なフリーランスだった。魔術協会と聖堂協会。
I mean, I'm only bringing it up because, you know, I have a habit of rooting against the people on screen when they're not my side. German, I think. I also found it really odd that we went back to his backstory when it really seemed like we should be getting the other guy's backstory. The priest guy who just murdered his master.
Yep.
I mean, that's what really threw me off when we went to the island, because I thought it was going to be that guy's backstory. And it's like, oh, wait, no, this is the wrong guy.
Also, kicking a shotgun is never a good idea, kid.
It's fine. One of the main things to test guns for is drop resistance. You cannot drop a gun and have it go off. That is literally, you would not pass any amount of testing.
Still, you're not supposed to drop weapons anyway.
Yeah, but they're still tested for it, though. So this whole thing about, like, in movies, they drop a gun and it blows someone's foot off or something like that should never happen. Unless you've modified your weapon.
似たような惨劇が世界のあらゆる場所で日常茶飯事。
Thank God those were magnetic bullets and they only go for the stairwell. For the last several years, I learned to stop asking people questions and just shoot first. Also, you notice how his eyes have lost all, like, shine to them?
Yeah. No iris.
No Iris is my Goo Goo Dolls cover band.
They shouldn't have run.
正義の味方にでもなるつもりか。
I mean, they've depicted her as only caring about money, so really, are you on the good side?
僕はこれ以上こんな犠牲を増やさないために 父さんを殺したはずだ。
そいつは一人やったくらいじゃ無理な相談だね。
You gotta kill more men than
今回のような連
that.
中を世界中から全て殺し尽くす。そんなことがもしできたら叶うかもしれんが。冗談だ。本気にするな。
He
And
did.
thus Durandal was born.
何があろうと手段を選ばず生き残る。この家業について私が決めた鉄則だ。何が起きようと自分の命をまず最優先にする。他人を助けようとして自分が死んでしまったら元も子もないから
Well, it depends. If you save the person you're trying to save and you still die, then it might still be a 1 for 1.
それでも僕は一人でも多く救いたい。
好きにすればいい。
Meanwhile, somewhere in Europe,
Oh, fax machine. Of course.
well, we just saw that earlier.
こいつはまた
That's when I said, oh, German, because I thought it looked like it was German on the paper.
魔術師オット・ボルザーク。
Still looks German to me.
血を刺激し、グールを増やす人でね。
Odd
魔術協
Borzak.
会からも高額な賞金をかけられている。
詳しいね。
You didn't catch it. You're
とに
supposed to
か
catch
く
it.
被害の規模がでかい。以前あいつがいた町は結局一つ丸ごとダメになった。
マッチング。
Okay, trigger words are now town.
ナタリア、一本もらっていいかい？
君の国はいくつから吸えるんだったか。まあ止めはせんが、体にいいもんじゃないぞ。
He's gonna cough up his lung.
Nope.
Or not.
Too cool for
Apparently
that.
not. Yeah.
Cool people smoke, right? We gotta get this character to smoke at some point.
奴の行き先は
Though I'm pretty sure he's already been smoking on screen anyway.
ニューヨーク行き。こいつにボルザークが乗る。
これには私が行くよ。ボルザークは
What's today again?
私が一度取り逃
September
がしている
10th?
のでね。後始末は自分でやるのが筋だろ。
But he said New York. I thought it was the
ナタリア
obvious
失
thing.
敗よ。
Yeah.
それだけ手強いやつだってこった。
僕はどうすれば？
I don't know
ニ
what
ューヨークに
his
は
inspiration is in
おそらくボル
fashion.
ザークの仲間がいるはずだ。坊や
Nice
にはそ
white.
いつらの掃除を頼みたい。
1800s clown?
ボルザー
I
クを
guess.
一人でやるってのかい？
奴も客席までは蜂を持ち込めない。
I mean, he could.
取り逃がす。
It would be real funny if he did.
口の減ら
I remember people used to do that to target bathrooms. They would just open up a thing of bees and run.
Ish.
Well, we've already established there's a kid on board, so
聞こえるかい？
OK。旅行だ。それじゃあ。
Is she in the pressure hold? In the cargo hold? That thing is gonna be cold as fuck.
yeah. But I mean, there's still gonna be some sort of radiative heat between the main cabin and the hold. It's not like trying to hold up in the where the wheels go. It's just nothing. We gonna snipe the plane out of the air? What's the plan for you? Unless you're just gonna be at the
But he's gonna
airport.
take care. He's gonna take care of the other people that are part of this guy's team or something. Okay, that was quick.
Was that the sire? I feel like I may have talked over something important.
Yeah.
Well, because we had this whole discussion in the comments that there's a whole level of vampire that get,
Mhm.
you know, their sire gets taken out, they get killed.
さてキリツム
Come on, man. Bees are going extinct. They don't deserve this.
運び出す準備は
Those are wasps.
No, those are
もう足
bees.
は用意できてる
Those are
あとは
wasps.
急病
Those are
の
bees. So
乗
she
客
covered the
を
fact that he would keep his
お医者
bees
さん
on
の
him.
方が OK だ
Yeah, but I think it's a translation error. Those look like wasps.
I don't think you can mistranslate that because bees and wasps are completely different. They're natural enemies. This is totally something I've done in a World of Darkness game before. Even had a cult and called the Hive, but it was a social media thing. It was just based about like
面倒なこと
bee
になったね
colonies.
自分の体内に蜂を
See, it says
仕掛けた
bees.
ナタリア脱出を
何フィート上空だと思ってるんだあいにくスカイダイビングの準備はしちゃいない
Oh, yeah. I think doesn't matter because the
こ
pilot.
りゃまずい
Well, I'm pretty sure she's not alive in the main timeline, or the.
Yeah.
I don't think he ever indicates that she dies, but she's not around. So
Mhm.
仕方ないね
ナタリアまさか
also how the bees not get down
私は
here?
帰るよ必ず生きて帰るボルザークの死体を担いでねその
Oh,
ためにはこの飛
how
行
the
機
hell are you gonna get his body?
何か言うことは
ああナタリアならできるさ
それでいいふかふかのベッドを用意して待ってておくれ
If I'm not back in 10 minutes, wait longer. Also, remember, this plane was heading to New York, and now it has no pilot.
聞こえているかい坊や寝ちまっちゃいないだろうね
感度良好だよナタリアお互い徹夜明けの辛い朝だね
夕べの君がベッドで安眠してたんだとしたら後で締め殺してやりたいよさていいニュースと悪いニュースどっちから聞きたい
いい知らせから話すのがお約束だろう
OK まず喜ばしい話としちゃとりあえずまだ生きてる飛行機の方も無事だコックピットには割合簡単にたどり着けたんだが通信機の修理に手間取っちまった操縦の方はなんとかなりそうだよセスナと同じ容量
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
管制塔と
proven.
つけたよ初めは
I mean, landing.
No, they do
pretty
those. They do
straightforward.
those tests if there was a pilot on the plane in case the pilots get taken out, and people
yeah.
who do like small commercial aircraft cannot land
噛まれずに済ん
a
だ
747.
乗員乗客
A lot of them don't even know how to operate the
残
seat.
らずクールになっちまった
Mm.
コックピットから扉一枚隔てた向こう側はすでに空飛ぶ死の都
I guess this is pre 9/11.
ゾッとしないね
そのありさまで
Yes, I know I made that joke too, but I just mean that the door would be heavily reinforced post 9/11.
Yeah.
扉は十分に頑丈だしね今もガリガリ引っかかれてるけどぶち破られる心配はないさむしろ着
That's
陸の
not the
方が
way
不
that
安で
people would work.
こんなデカブツ本当
By
に
which I mean the person wouldn't peer through it the other way.
あったなら
Although to be fair, probably a dumb person would try to look through it.
Yeah.
励ましてるつもりかい嬉しいこったね
Now, are you bleeding from the face because a bee got you, or because someone splashed you?
化け物たちをどうするか
それは心配しなくてもこっちで
This is very much like that TV show where the plane lands and everyone's dead on board.
Yeah.
Because it was a vampire in that one too.
空港まであと50分ちょっと祈って過ごすには長すぎるね坊やしばらく話し相手になっておくれ
構わないよ
Also, yeah, you wouldn't want to land this thing.
I guess he's supposed to bring the body as proof that she had the mission.
Yeah, I mean,
that
that's what she
tried
said. She wants to bring the bodies. Like, how are you going to get that? It's filled with all these bees and everything.
坊やがこの家業を
But if you landed the plane safely, these bees are going to be everywhere. You'd want to crash this thing.
The water or fire were the ones who take care of this.
Well, yeah, I mean, probably into a fireball, so crash it on the ground somewhere. You know, turn the autopilot off, jump out somewhere, but you're in the cockpit. There's no outward jump place now.
数年がかりで身につける覚悟なんだ。坊やはそれを最初から持ち合わせていた。とんでもない資質だよ。でもね、素質に沿ったなりわいを選ぶってのが必ずしも幸せなことだとは限らない。何をしたいかを考えずに何をすべきかだけで動くようになったらね、そんなのはただの機械、ただの現象だ。人の生き方とは程遠い。
僕はさ、あんたのこともっと冷たい人だと思ってた。
何を今さら、その通りじゃないか。私が坊やを甘やかしたことなんて一度でもあったかい？
そうだな。いつだって厳しくて手加減抜きだった。あんた手抜きせず本気で僕のこと仕込んでくれたよな。
普通男の子を鍛えるのは父親の役目なんだけどね。
But you killed him.
その、なんだ。坊やの場合、そのチャンスを。
Is he gonna shoot the plane down?
この私が原因みたいなものだ。
I think he is.
まあなんていうか、引け目を感じない。
Has the foresight, the things I mentioned before.
私に教えられる生き方なんて他にはなかったからね。
あんたは僕の父親のつもりで。
That looks like a rocket launcher to me.
せめて母親と言い直せ。
そうだね。ごめん。
Killed my dad, can at least kill my mom. Call me Lizzie Borden because I'm about on this. I mean, I feel like they're trying to hide a rocket launcher, but they're not doing a very good job.
僕もあんたのことまるで母親みたい
Not great, I'm talking in the past tense.
一人じゃないのが嬉しかった。
Oh, that is the exact sentiment that Mushoku Tensei ended on. No, Firin, sorry, Firin ended on. It would be embarrassing if we saw each other again.
ごめんよ。悪かった。
ひょっとすると私も焼きが回ったのかもしれない。
I don't think that's gonna be a problem.
こんなドジを踏む羽目になったのもいつの間にやら家族ごっこで気が緩んでたせいかもな。だとすればもう潮時だ。引退するべきかね。
Or be retired.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if she actually knows this is coming. I mean, the whole conversation about you doing your job without emotion, not thinking about what you should do, makes me feel like she's implying.
Now, the funny thing would be that a seagull explodes the missile.
He's alive, so clearly they didn't get away too hard.
Yeah.
あんたは僕の本当の家族だ。
Hey, Kirtsuga, what was that noise? Consider yourself like a tree. I thought it was funnier if I said it wrong to begin with. You've killed a lot since the last time. Like, what about all those guys in the streets we already flashed back to you killing? Also, stop calling me Shirley. Exactly, though. Nope.
それは
Thought we were gonna get emotion, instead we got crazy.
だから
Yeah.
だからシャレ僕は
Oh, actually, we got Kira instead,
Yeah.
without the ball kicking.
ふざけるなバカ野郎
ケリーはさ、どんな大人になりたいの？
Again, she's less impactful now that we know he literally grew up, fell in love with somebody else, had a kid, and is now sacrificing that other woman as a homunculi.
僕は
I mean, she's sad from the perspective of what could have been. Obviously, I'm a sucker for that. You know, Icelina, love remains, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, do you think... How many deaths do you think he's killed now versus how many his father is responsible for?
I mean, that's a whole question of what he's doing for justice, right? Is he killing the right people? Then he's avoiding pain and suffering for others, right? Not merely sacrificing, but defending others, right?
Again, though, she's not an agent of justice, so she's an agent of money. That was established.
Mhm.
Again, though,
Or this is just
he killed his dad because his dad was going to kill people, then went on to kill people, like his dad. For different reasons, but he's still killing people.
not ideal. I will not have. I will not support that.
Not ideal, sure. I guess we can agree on that. Well, I mean, technically we don't, but... Again, I'm still in the dad's camp, but that's only from the perspective of the son should kill his father. But I just think it's a bit hypocritical to kill your dad for killing people and then go on to kill people.
They broke him. Oh, he was already broken. I think that's the whole point.
I don't know. It's hard to tell. I mean, about what broke him. I don't disagree that it broke him. I mean, I don't disagree he's broken.
お前は誰だ？
悪い冗談にも程がある。どうだ、桜から奪ったその命。霊視をもって我が傀儡に命ず。
戻りましたね、昔のあなたの顔に。
これは僕が始めた戦いだ。
私はね、幸せだよ。
How? Oh, never mind. Probably referring to one of the people as the assassin, not the actual assassin. The assassins are gone. So, just the return of that guy. Although I don't know why he's mentioning Sakura. Oh, probably because he killed her dad. Yeah. Sorry, just trying to piece together. Also, I can't hear it. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's raining pretty heavily here. So, the normal low quality that I keep my TV is being drowned out by the headphones and the rain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he might have been broken by the death of his best friend, which then led him to killing his dad, which was probably not a choice made in the moment, but just an extension of the emotional outlet that he was feeling.
Yeah. And then he hooked up with somebody who does nothing but killing, so he kept on killing.
Well, I think it was
And
implied that he met her before he killed his dad. Like, she convinced him to do it, so I think he was actually being manipulated. The dad was the target of her mission here, so she convinced him to do it for her, and then he just tagged along.
And then he kept killing, and he wanted the justification of justice for his killing, but in fact, she said, just do it for survival. But at the end, he chose to kill her to save more people, right? The people on the plane were already lost. And if she got the body out, good chance that more people would be infected and,
Well, I mean,
massacred.
She had the opportunity to eject. She didn't.
No, she said she had no parachute, though.
She was wearing a parachute.
No, she wasn't.
Yeah, when she was in the hold down below, and she pulled the thing off and put it over her shoulders, that was the parachute. Then she went to the cockpit, though, for some reason. And there was no escape from the cockpit at that point. No idea how she got
Yes.
to the cockpit to begin with, because she had to go through the whole plane of people
Yeah.
and bees.
As long as she never gets stung, I suppose she could survive. She
Well,
killed a lot of people along the way.
That's what I brought up, the fact that she had blood on her face. I was like, did she get stung by a bee, or did it just splatter?
Yeah.
Because if she's infected, that'd be a reason why she... Not infected, whatever the fuck this is. If she is whatever the fuck this is, that'd be one reason why she didn't bail out of the plane. But you'd think that would have happened to her already, because we saw how fast it hurt on other people.
Yeah. And she was carrying a shotgun, so I think she just blasted her way to the cockpit.
I don't think that's going to work on the bees.
No, she's covered. I guess she has to cover herself. So that
Barely.
She's
got a full-on head explosion, midriff. She's unexposed all over the place. You're not going to shotgun your way through a bunch of bees. This isn't a video game. This is an anime.
The wasp, but sure. They say bees, but...
Well, I'm going by what the text says, so...
Yeah.
I mean, these are magical bees. Who's to say what magical bees look like? A lot like magic. Wasps.
Anyway, when she said
transmutation is a magic, so...
When she said, I'm going to take the body because I needed to prove, to get paid, it's like, well, that's where you sign your death warrant.
Well, man, there's the element of, does she know? I mean, she smiled at the end, so assumedly she knew. Like, that must be him.
Yeah.
Also, she's an open line with him.
The whole conversation when he kept asking, okay, how long are you going to be here? Because you have air corridors, so he was going to land in New York, LaGuardia. There was only so many places he could approach over the water to be there. So, he just waited.
Well, yeah, during the night he bought the suitcase with the thing in it.
Yeah.
To get there.
Stinger missile, yeah.
So obviously, I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not questioning what he was up to. I'm questioning if she knew via the conversation that they were having. By the end, she obviously knew. It wasn't a surprise. We got that last little grin, which obviously to you means that she's a bad guy.
Well, she never was a good guy.
No, it's you always accusing people who grin of being a bad guy.
No, I think somebody who's grinning, depending on the situation, can be suspicious.
Yes, because happy people are always suspicious. What are you happy about? There's nothing to be happy about here. Life sucks.
Depending on the situation. Anyway, I think she knew. And I think she was trying to justify her decision to him. Like, yeah, this is why I'm doing this. We'll see you back. Don't worry about it. Consider me like a mother. Like, but at the end, he's like, but she also said, you never had a problem, pulling the trigger. That was something you already had, So she kind of knew that he was going to do it because once he made his mind about doing it, he would do it, right?
I don't know. In the after, having just watched it, is probably, I anticipate multiple ways to view the conversation. But then again, if I was to rewatch it, maybe I'd feel more solid about it because, I was flippantly casting jokes the entire time, so...
There you have it.
Well, final thought?
Good episode. I liked it as a standalone. I don't know where this... I mean, we get to know more about this character, but...
It's not really a standalone. It's a two-parter, really.
I mean, yes, but as a sort of self-contained look at this character, my guess is that we're going to get to the end, near the end, and he or someone connected to him will have to make a similar decision that he made here. Like, similar decision to killing his father or similar decision to shooting down the airplane, right? Or he'll end up giving a big speech about it. Like, I've done these things because da-da-da-da-da.
Well, there's only 6 more episodes in Fate Zero. Second season, anyway. I don't know how many. If there's only 2 seasons of Fate Zero, then there's only 6 more episodes at all. And then, Fate Stay Night or whatever.
And then it's going to be like, either that person's going to call his bullshit and kill him or something, or he's going to try to, he might at the end do it. Like, I was doing all this for this, but now I realized I wasn't going to do this. This is stupid. Blah, blah, do this other thing. And Or I expected you were going to do this because that's what I would have done in your place. Something like that. The only reason why I would go into so much detail in this guy's particular background, right?
Well, I
In 2
assume we're
episodes.
going into as much detail in this guy's particular background because he's the main character. Even though it's an ensemble show, it very much seems like it's this guy who's going to win.
Or maybe
I mean-
he isn't supposed to win.
Well, I mean, think about it. Saber is the character we spend most of our time with in the summon side. His
Mhm.
dying wife we spend all of our time with. We spend more of our time with him than anybody else.
Well, you said that Saber is not a summon in the typical way, and her mission is to protect humanity at all costs, right?
Clarification, I did not say that. A comment said that.
Well, if what the commentator says is true, then it might be that they set up Saber to make a decision.
Saber also
To save
doesn't know that
mankind.
the wife is the Grail.
Maybe she might find out soon enough.
No, I mean, that was the conversation that, what's her name had with the, sorry, I've forgotten everyone's name, so all I'm going to do is just describe them as like, that's what the dying homunculus wife said to the wife that's going to take her place after she dies.
Yeah.
That Saber doesn't know, and she's been hiding it. Well, no, never mind. I forgot. Saber does know. Saber does know because she gave her some more energy when she was asking what the hell's going on
Yeah.
in the shed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just seems to me very implicit that these are the characters that are going to win because, well,
Sorry.
no, well, obviously the guy who just stabbed Dad in the back is not going to be on the good guys team. It'd be crazy. I mean, I'd appreciate it, but it would be crazy to me if the backstabbing guy and the guy who wants to control the world win. That would be considering this is based on a video game, unless you're playing those characters, that'd be crazy if they won.
Or they're setting up a situation that the world going forward is very different from the world that we are now because of the actions that happen here, right?
Well, no, because Fate Stay Night is the original.
Yeah, but if Fate Stay Night is a different world than ours, it's like Earth, but something different, the explanation might be what happened here.
Well, no,
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I don't think that's the case. I don't know. Obviously, I didn't watch Fate Stay Night I didn't play any of the games, but the world is different. We know it's different because this world is different. Fate Zero is already different, and it doesn't establish everything the comments have gone over so far. About the moon spirit is here creating vampires and whatnot. Like, it doesn't establish that, so I'd have to think that that's not the purpose of Fate Zero to establish why the world of Fate Stay Night would be so completely different. Like, if we keep getting patroned about this, if we get into Fate Stay Night and Fate Stay Night's like a post-apocalypse scenario, and it's like, oh, it turns out that 30 years ago they won the Grail War and they caused all massive destruction, that would be one thing, but I don't foresee that happening. Well, I mean, why would you establish that there's been so many Grail Wars before this, and then this is what's happening here, and then we actually... Like, why would you stop people from seeing the giant monster in the lake that was attacking everyone if we're going to establish later on that nobody knows what's going on? Why would you protect the secret if by the next show the secret's already known anyway?
Yeah, but the people in this, maybe the reason why there was an apocalypse, whatever, etc., was because it became known, right?
No, that's what I'm saying, is that if everything is going to be known by the next one, why would you create an arc wherein we're keeping the secret? And we were effective in keeping the secret. Like,
up to the point where they weren't.
Yeah, for a 6-episode arc, it's like, well, then don't have that arc. Beat them in a different way, and then we reveal the secret without doing the same story twice. You know the problem that we had with, like, was it Macross? I can't remember which show we were watching where we said the problem was we do every story 3 times. No, it was actually OG Gundam. We do every story 3 times, and it feels like we develop it into a better story every time.
Yeah.
So at which point, it's like we should only have the last one. The last time we did that version of the story, it was the best one. We don't need the first 2. Well, Same thing here. We don't need to tell the same story twice if we're going to be effective once and ineffective a second time. Because also being effective the first time fails to indicate what the consequence is of failing. As you said, if it creates the apocalypse for having known, we don't get to see that, so we don't know what the consequence is to be fearful of it happening a second time.
Yeah. Still interesting though. Since I don't know anything about Fate, like I know very little about Fate Stay Night, so who knows?
The only thing I know about Fate Stay Night is who the main character is.
Rin.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't remember. Nick said that. I don't remember because I had a different name in my head. It's one of the daughters. No, you're right. It's Rin. I was remembering Sakura because she's the other daughter because we just previously discussed her. So yeah, Rin is the main character. That is the only thing I know, but that's probably because she's like featured on artwork. Alright, well, if that was everything, then once again, I have been Theta. This has been Lessons. We've been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe and let us know what you thought about this video and what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?